Hey you Stygian Dogs, it's October 25th and that marks the release of issue number 4 of Conan the Barbarian from Titan Comics and Heroic Signatures. This is, of course, the final book in the first 4-issue story arc. The series has been remarkable thus far, and I'm excited and a little apprehensive to see how Jim Zub wraps it up. As usual, we'll take a look at the main cover variants as announced, and I'll let you know what I was able to pick up. But before we do that, let's quickly recap the end of the last issue. After Brissa successfully leads the captured Cimmerians to safety, she departs to return to the Dark Tower. Conan and a small company of brethren descend into the bowels of the tower and witness the stream of Cimmerians offered to the lake by the adherents of Tulsa Doom. They move ever closer to their time to strike. Their presence is discovered and desperate battle ensues. Conan and Hadalin are all that remain of the battling Cimmerians and find themselves outnumbered at a precipice. No choice but a lunatic's leap over the abyss, and it appears that Brother Hadalin is lost. Disarmed by the priest, but only for a moment, as the Pictish pike is brought to bear, Conan and the priest tumble from the peak and into the wretched lake of souls. There are two things I'll ask you to take note of here. First, the presumed fate of Hadalin, and second, the phrase Pictish pike. This was such sly foreshadowing on Jim Zub's part, and the observant among us certainly noted that it stood out. Here are the variant covers you can expect to see on store shelves. Cover A from Roberto De La Torre. Cover B is from Giada Marchisio. Cover C from Nick Percival. And the fantastic cover D is from Carrie Nord. And here are the covers that I was able to pick up. I'm happy to say that I was able to grab each of the variant covers. My favorites are the De La Torre and the Carrie Nord. I love the battle with the Frost Giants. Ready? It's time to check out issue number 4 of Conan the Barbarian from Titan Comics and Heroic Signatures, written by Jim Zub. And here we go. I will flip through the book, perhaps present a few close-up panels. I'll try not to read too much verbatim, but I will outline the general plot and happenings. I do want you to be curious, and I really want you to grab your own copy. I just want to give you a sense of how things look and to hopefully convey my excitement and a few summary thoughts. But be warned, if you want a pure reading experience, and I know you do, I would caution you about spoilers. If inclined, feel free to skip ahead to the conclusion. On the inside cover, we see advertisement for the Funcom properties. Opposite that, credits for the teams at Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics. Again, introduction by way of the Numidian Chronicles, and the summary of events thus far, this time detailing pretty much the full course of action from the previous issues. The map, an ominous void marking the depths into which Conan has fallen, and the black evil therein. We see the title, Conan the Barbarian, Bound in Black Stone, Part 4, Vengeance of the Lost. Writer Grim Jim Zub, artist Ravaging Rob De La Torre, color artist Devious Dean White, letterer Riotous Richard Starkings, editor Merciless Matt Murray. Conan sinks into the depths, fate unknown, and he's not alone. Tendrils from the blackness below, seeking, stealing life with an insatiable hunger. Conan struggles against the strangling coils. He seems to succumb. A worthy end for a worthy warrior? Falling, floating, fighting limbo, a voice sounds, telling him to fight, lest darkness steal his soul. As an aside, if you've been following here or reading Jeffrey Shanks' essays in the past 3 issues, you'll smile knowingly at this reveal. Conan's in the presence of Brule the Spearslayer, companion and confidant to King Kull of Atlantis and progenitor of Brissa, the ancient blade at his waist. Brule explains that Conan's time is short in this flickering veil of substance and illusion. He explains that the Pictish sword used to be atop his spear. And we can pause here for a moment. The last issue certainly foreshadowed this, as booktuber Grammaticus Books had noticed in his review of issue 3. There is Zub's narration, a Pictish pike is brought to bear. The sword is not a pike, that's odd, but it could correlate with a spear, so there's a big hint there. Brule tells a tale of a battle against beasts who were once men. It begins in a village under ominous skies, villagers eerily calm against the gloom. A promised feast, but not. The chieftain smiles, informing the stone will feed us, led to a carving in black stone, unfinished yet fully formed, dull on its surface, a strange gleam beneath. At the source of the scourge, the chief and his council begin to thrash and wail. Humanity shed like reptile skin. Trapped, transfixed, until Brule's war cry stirs his men, bringing hell to that cursed cliff. And the composition of this single 2-page panel paralleling Conan's battle against the priest and damned in the previous issue. It's pretty awesome. Battle over, slight sanity returned, Brule casts his spear to destroy the black stone, as the heavens send lightning to shatter the stone, dispelling the darkness. Brule, knowing its wickedness, was more than a single statue. Tale told, Brule tasked Conan to avenge his people with bright blood and great fury, to be rewarded now and forevermore. Conan swears it so, and this is fun. To Conan's confusion, Brule says, Kull would be pleased to hear his blood still stirs strong in the line of kings. Before Conan can respond, the talk is over and it's time to arise. And here is further mystery and evidence of Heroic Signature's long game and grand myth-making. Whether a vision or a death's door hallucination, we don't know, but the warrior will not face his worthy death this day, not this way. With bright blood and great fury, he lashes out. The foe will not fall unless its source is eradicated. Without heir to reservice, a sacrifice for his homeland, unafraid of what lay beyond, he faces the Reaper. Brule's spear brought to bear. A peal of thunder, and the Cimmerian is sent skyward, and we can see Hydalan in the foreground. To my surprise, Hydalan rouses Conan, as Brule's promise to meet again on the battlefield beyond dreams and nightmares, surely hinting that this will not be the last time we see the Pictish hero. I was certain that Hydalan had succumbed to the Lake of Souls in the last issue, but I guess he survived to fight on. And Hydalan reminds Conan that the battle is far from over, Conan's memory of the vision fading away, and it's time to write their song in steel. Drenched, drained, and nearly drowned, the Cimmerians charge forth, fighting to their last breath. So we conclude that Hydalan did plunge into the waters, but survived. Crom of the Mountain will never esteem their bravery, but their survivor soul he gave them shines bright and bold. Some great action in these panels. Hydalan and Conan run their blades red to the hilt. The great hall quakes, caverns collapse, the pair flees. And into the open air as the black stone fortress topples. The evil purged, Conan and Hydalan return to the small enclave of survivors. Conan seeks the whereabouts of Brissa so that he may return the ancestral blade. He's told that she ran back to find him, and left to conclude that as the fortress fell, so too did her noble heart, one more victim of the baneful black. On the final page, we see that many months have passed, and spring has returned to Cimmeria. Asgard nomads come upon the ruins and remnants of battle, gathering what is useful, and there, unassuming amongst the dirt, something dark, dull on its surface, with a strange gleam beneath. And I absolutely love the retro fin with the question mark. It's certain that this tale is yet to be fully told. And there we have it, the action-packed final issue that completes the first arc of Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics' Conan the Barbarian by Jim Zub. After the last issue, with mysteries answered and more to be explored, you'll recall that I had thoughts, many, on where this issue could go. So many scenarios considered and played out in my mind, questions on the source of the evil, Brissa's role in aiding Conan, and questions around just how Conan would return the Pictish blade to Brissa. Well, here I am, satisfied and surprised. While I'd strongly suspected that the Pictish sword was indeed Brule's spear, I'd not necessarily anticipated Brule's appearance in Conan's nether plane encounter. I also find myself satisfied and surprised at Brule's insinuation that Conan is of Kull's kingly lineage, an example of the grand myth-making that Jim Zub, Jeffrey Shanks, and Heroic Signatures are engaged in. Also, I was surprised to see that Hydalan survived the Lake of Souls, though I'm satisfied that he did and that Conan's Cimmerian brother could fight by his side. The biggest surprise, and probably Zub's best move, was the absence of Brissa. As I'd considered how the arc would resolve itself, I'd feared Brissa encountering some sort of meaningless death. But I also worried that she might be too readily used to save the day. And while I was disappointed that we didn't see her in the story, Zub's foreshadowing remains. The ancestral blade, Brul's spear, will be returned to her. We are left to consider how and when, and the further mystery of what happened to her. Is she bound to the Black Stone? And what of Brul's promise to Conan to meet again on the battlefield beyond dreams and nightmares? We are left with further mystery, knowing that this story is far from over, and while we wait to see where this will eventually lead, we can be content knowing that we'll be getting a new adventure in Zub's and Braithwaite's forthcoming arc. It's nice being spoiled. After an ad for the Omnibuy, we move on to another Jeffrey Shanks essay, this time giving us extra information on the Pictish lineage and its ties to the Atlanteans, detailing Brul and Kull's first meeting and the progression of their relationship, developing a friendship that turns into a brotherhood, closer than any familial bond. And on the opposite page, the chainmail letters, and in the lower right-hand corner, the promotion of the new short stories. I've read both the Stephen Graham Jones and John C. Hawking story, and they're fantastic. The Hawking story first serialized in The Savage Sword of Conan. And of note, the next will be a Solomon Kane story, releasing November 28th. For $2, these are a no-brainer. After that, the covers gallery. And on the back cover, we see an advertisement for John Walsh's fantastic Conan the Barbarian, the official story of the film, and I highly recommend that one. As I opened the issue, I hesitated, unsure if I was prepared to read it. Each issue has been better than the previous. How is Zub going to end this? How will he surprise us? Will he surprise us? I had thoughts, many, on where this issue could go. Scenarios considered and played out in my mind, tantalizing hints from Jeffrey Shanks' essays and Zub's writing. It is evident that Heroic Signatures and the creative team are clearly up to something, and Shanks had confirmed as much in a comment on a previous video of mine. Yes, they're in it for the long game. But what is the play, and will it be successful? And most importantly, would this final part of this first 4-issue arc hit the mark? Well, for me, it did. The marked absence of Brissa was a smart choice and defied the potential outcomes I'd anticipated. And the grand myth-making introduced via Brul and Kull gives us a Conan who is not simply confined to the Hyborian age. He's a Conan in potentially greater context, his legend growing ever deeper, giving this arc and all future stories an even greater sense of magic and possibility. This Conan the Barbarian relaunch from Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics has been a critical, and I can only hope, a commercial success. Fans of the character have been given something truly special, and the final results have been superlative. Jim Zub, like a Numidian scholar, so perfectly chronicling the Sumerians' as-yet untold adventures, as if the winds from Crom's lowly mountain had whispered the tales directly in his ear. The chance to see Roberto De La Torre draw an absolutely epic 4-issue arc of Conan the Barbarian, something that seems as if it was always meant to be, yet was never guaranteed, and now realized, informed by lineage, his work sets a new standard for the Barbarian's comic depiction. And we have De La Torre's work further enhanced by Jose Villarrubia and Dean White's colors, tones as somber as the Sumerian hills and the punctuated reds of viscera and bloody battle, evil waters imbued with ethereal iridescence, all topped off by Richard Starking's lettering, perfectly capturing that feeling of classic comics, creating a sense of continuity from Conan's previously chronicled adventures. Not to mention the stewardship of editor Matt Murray, Fred Malmberg, and the rest of the team at Heroic Signatures, all true children of Crom. This new series has me excited for comics again. Sure, I'm buying multiple copies of Conan each month, but I'm also scouring bins, trying new titles, feeling an enthusiasm for comics that I haven't had in over 20 years. I feel like this might be the greatest compliment I could give to the creative team, to thank them for reigniting a dormant passion for something that has brought me and so many others so much joy. So with that, I'd like to offer a sincere thank you to everyone that brought this series into being, and I can't wait to see what's next. Go out and buy these comics. They're remarkable. You won't be disappointed even if you've watched all of my review videos. Let me know your thoughts on issue number 4. I've got the trade paperback on pre-order. It's released in February of 2024, and I can't wait to see it on my bookshelf. I'll put links in the video description, and if you purchase from there, it'll help support the channel. And hey, don't forget to like and subscribe if the content of this channel appeals to you. We'll get the new arc from Jim Zub and artist Doug Braithwaite starting next month. I'm excited to see Braithwaite's take on Conan, and the new arc will be a bit of a palate cleanser as we await the return of Roberto De La Torre. And until next time, take it easy, you Stygian Dogs.